Lights on, by the way.
And on the surface, he's a pretty normal guy, just like you or me. He lives in a normal apartment, has a Netflix account, and a big old TV. He's super friendly, really easy to talk to, would happily sit down and watch TV with you, but you would have to work the remote.
He doesn't like remotes?
No, it's actually a lot more complicated than that.
I'm not to touch any computer, smartphone, or device that has internet connectivity.
And there's a chance that if you violated this term of your parole, you could go back to jail.
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy. From Gimlet, this is Reply All, show about the internet. I'm Alex Goldman. So, I didn't know this until fairly recently, but a punishment that's sometimes handed down when people are convicted of computer-related crimes is that they're banned from using the internet as part of the terms of their parole. And that means not just you can't use your computer, it means like you can't use your smartphone, you can't use a tablet, you can't use anything that connects to the internet. If you have one of those smart fridges, you can't use that.
Wait, but why can't you just use a smartphone that's on airplane mode?
Because you could turn off airplane mode.
Right.
So, a lot of times this is a punishment that's used for sex offenders or predators or people who are caught with child pornography, things like that.
Right.
Which makes sense. But it's also frequently used with people who did not commit a sex offense, like hackers. And Hino Ochoa, who I went to Austin to see, is a hacker. And he's been a hacker since he was like a little kid.
At the time, my grandmother worked for NASA, so very early on, she got this thing that people are calling a personal computer. So she comes over to the house and drops this thing in front of me and says, "Put it together. Like, I need to get this to work. I don't know what it is." So that was really my first foray into computers, and I was hooked.
When the rest of us were just using AOL to, like, talk to people posing as teenage girls, he was like, trying to figure out how to, run punters, which were, like, programs that would kick people offline. And then very quickly he started breaking into, like, administrator accounts, and he sort of had his run of the place.
And how old is he at this point?
Like 13, 14.
Okay.
Basically hacking his way into any unsecured computer he could find on the internet. And he took the moniker Wormer with a 0. And he says that back then, before things spiraled way out of control, he and his friends were just hacking out of curiosity.
Back then, we did it for knowledge. We did it because we wanted to learn these systems, and they weren't going to give us access. They're not going to give at the time, 13-year-old kid access to a multi-million-dollar Unix server because he wants to learn to program. They will use shitty passwords and let me break into it, but that's on them.
He says that's how it was for a long time. He and his friends just broke into stuff because they were curious. They weren't malicious. That is until September 2011, when he became aware of the Occupy movement.
Cops were doing really shady things at this time, covering their badges, turning off cameras, harassing protesters. I grew up trusting my government, wouldn't do these things. It was ingrained in my head they wouldn't do these things. And then they did. And here on American soil, these people were being pepper sprayed, beaten with batons.
For the first time in his life, he knew he was politically motivated and really pissed off.
8 miles. Turn right on Quail Run Drive, then turn left.
So he hooked up with a group of hackers loosely affiliated with Anonymous called the Cabin Crew, and he started hacking the cops. It was extremely easy.
There are so many badly designed websites and badly designed info systems out there. I mean, if you look at